You couldn't miss Pat, he was massive. He was a big frigging lump. And he was in the bathroom, it was all lit up, so I could see the shape of him. But I wasn't sure if Sarah was there. So that's why I smashed the window, and he was right in front of me. I just put the gun up. Like I say, I just went into whatever mode it was I went into.
Everybody's heard of the Essex Boys firm. They controlled much of the drugs trade in the southeast of England during the 1990s. But their lucrative operation was eventually closed down when Patrick Tate, Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe, the gang's key members, were rendered redundant after being shot through the head. One minute they were sitting in their Range Rover conspiring to flood the county with Class A drugs. The next they were lying in the morgue with their plans and heads in tatters. The police described the crime as a senseless slaughter. I chose to call it fucking justice. News of the three men's demise was the best Christmas present that I, and many others, had ever had. Tate, Tucker and Rolfe were simply bullies who got their comeuppance. There are, of course, those who disagree with me. They try to portray the deceased as decent guys, but they undoubtedly have no idea what they were really like. According to one particular hanger-on, they were misunderstood men who treated their friends like brothers. They lived like kings apparently, and partied like animals. In fact, their heads were so messed up on drugs they didn't have a clue what they were saying or doing. Never mind other people being able to fathom out their madness. I have to concede that their friends were treated well, but only by the NHS when they're on their way to hospital after being beaten or stabbed by those bastards. God only knows what planet these so-called kings were supposed to be from, because here, on terra firma, I was not aware of any kingdom that they ruled. Parted like animals. Yes, okay, I'll give them that one, but only because they were animals. How else can dumb animals behave, other than like dumb animals? That may sound harsh, but don't be fooled by all that mystical bollocks about villains not hurting women and kids and looking after their own. The three murdered men didn't care who they hurt, and they only looked after themselves. They were more than happy to beat, stab, or murder people who dared to interfere in their drug dealing empire. Even that's not entirely true, because they were in fact happy to beat, stab, or murder people simply because they didn't like the look of them. That's why I found myself sitting in my car near Pat Tate's bungalow with a loaded gun in my hand one night. Over the previous 2 weeks, the Essex Boys firm had beaten me, threatened my family, trashed my home, and stolen all my possessions. After all that, they were still telling people they were going to catch me and subject me to a long and painful death. Why? I don't even think they knew the answer to that question. I was supposed to be their mate, one of the boys in the firm. What a fucking joke. I am grateful I was not their enemy. I can clearly remember the night it all came to a head. In fact, it's unlikely that I'll ever be able to forget it. I told myself that I'd had enough of their violence and threats. I was not prepared to take their shit anymore. It was time for them to experience fear. I decided that these morons must die in a hail of bullets.